So Hayes, I started live stream, and you do have a
Oh,
quorum.
okay. Okay, great. I'm just,
You take your
I
time. I
I'm
just want to let
sorry,
you.
I closed out all my windows. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Okay. Hi guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is. I can never ever log into this meeting without having some kind of an issue. So I was hoping to share my screen, but I'm on my phone, so I have no idea how, if that's even possible. Um,
I can share my screen. It's
I
Rich.
got a new camera. Oh, okay, good. Can you
Yeah, I can
share
share.
the agenda?
Yeah, I'll put it up right now.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. Jeremy, we're recording, right?
Yes.
Okay. What happened? So everybody, this is the housing.
Oh, you sound a little choppy, Hazel.
My goodness, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to fix this phone. That be better now.
Hey, Rich.
Yep, I'm here.
I just noticed that my old business stuff is wrong. That's from education. I use
Okay.
that. I use education as a model. That's why a lot of this. That's
Okay.
why. So I'll correct that now.
Okay, I'll make a note of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, just everybody ignore that part. I'll correct it right now.
Hey, can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
Perfect. Yep, you're good now.
Okay, I switched phones. Okay. So let me start over. My name is Hazel Miura. I'm the chair of the Housing Committee for Community Board 11. Do my other members want to just introduce themselves real quick?
Sure. Rich Reynoso here, co-chair of the Housing Committee.
Malcolm, member of the Housing Committee.
Hi, I'm Juanita Randall.
Hi, Jeanette Wilson, member.
Robert Press, community member.
Cynthia Rodriguez, board member.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I'm hoping that everybody got to see the September minutes. Because I can't share them because I'm on my phone. Did my members get to see the September meeting minutes? Yes, no, yes, hopefully.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I guess we can just make a motion to accept them.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Second.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So are there any discussions? Any objections? Okay, great. So the September minutes from the Housing Committee meeting have been accepted. So I want to just briefly talk about the full board meeting that we had on the and there was a lot of discussion on the Just Homes proposal. Thank goodness that this meeting went a lot better than the two public hearings that we had, one official and one non-official. And there was a motion that was passed. We write a draft letter objecting to this proposal. And somebody on the board had suggested that the letter kind of come out of the Housing Committee. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but if you agree, then we have to work on a draft. I guess it's because this whole issue kind of fell into our lap. I guess we're kind of responsible for it. So I don't know if any one of you wants to take wants to try and start the draft, or if we can do it as a group. I'm up for suggestions, because I'm not even sure how to begin this letter. But we can do.
I think a group works. I mean, we could work amongst ourselves and give ourselves a deadline.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
okay. So,
So Hazel,
yeah.
so normally I draft this stuff, but long story short, if you guys can help with it, that would be great. I mean, I will naturally put in the standard language about how the board voted, when they voted, how many people voted. But other than that, yeah, if you can just help me with the reasoning again, I just want to make sure because remember they voted on a draft. So whatever you can do to help, I appreciate it.
Okay, great. Yeah, you could start it off for us and send it to us. We'll work together on it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. So Jeremy also sent me an email regarding the questions that were asked, and finally we got some kind of clarification on them. I did forward you guys what Jeremy had sent me. I don't know if you got a chance to review it. I sent it earlier today. Regarding the questions, there were like 12 questions that we had sent them, which they didn't answer, they just answered them now, I guess. So we didn't really have any of this information when we had our meeting. But if you want to just take some time and look them over. It was just questions on, how many medically complex Rikers Island inmates are in Rikers right now. Did they assess the availability and accessibility of what the target audience would need? How will they be measuring success? Will there be community-based measures of success? Is there a minimum age to qualify for this project? And why put this in a residential neighborhood? Those were just some of the questions that we had asked. And they finally responded. So if you guys can take a look at that when you get a chance, and then we can talk about it, and we can kind of like put some of this into that draft letter also, because they still really haven't. To me, these are just like standard answers. I don't think they've really gotten into the nitty gritty as to what kind of information the community was really looking for. But it's a start, and it's better than nothing. I mean, at least they answered, so I appreciate that. Does anybody have anything to say about the questions? Anything more to say about Just Homes before I go on?
I had forwarded some questions to Jeremy about 2 weeks ago. I don't know if those were ever passed on, or if it was, if some of them, if there was some overlap between some of these that were answered or not.
This is Cynthia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if, well, I guess Jeremy must have your email address. He could give it to me, and I can actually send you the answers to the questions that we had put to them, so that you can take a look. Hopefully some of your questions are here. There were just a lot. We were just getting a lot of information from the community. So we just kind of put together the ones that we thought were more important. That, there was others that were as important, but we wanted to really get to the bottom of what this whole project was about. So I will have Jeremy give me your email address, and I will definitely send these to you tomorrow.
Well, I can see that. And, like some of my questions were a little more specific with regards to, diagnostic criteria, specific rubrics that are being used to make certain determinations. What, like the question of rigorous screening, what modalities were being used to, perform these rigorous screenings, that sort of thing. So if anything, we can ask Jeremy to forward that to you if you haven't received it yet.
Okay. All right, great. Anybody else? Any more discussion on it?
So Hazel, the responses we got, I sent them to the whole board today. around 5 o'clock, I think, something like that. I sent it to our board, so every board member should have it. I do believe I forwarded Cynthia's stuff on, like, maybe around the time I received it. But I know there's a member of the public that also keeps emailing me about questions they want answered or why certain questions. I can pinpoint out that person's name. But yeah, you should have Cynthia's questions, and you should have this other person's, but I won't mention their name publicly because I don't know if they want that, but we can touch base tomorrow. I can email the whole committee if I haven't emailed the whole committee.
Okay,
That's probably best. I'll just email the whole committee tomorrow.
I've
okay.
received nothing, Hazel, as of now.
You didn't receive you didn't receive my
Nothing.
email?
You and I touch base, but that's all I've received.
Okay,
Nothing from the office.
Yeah, I haven't sent it out to the public yet. I'm going
I'm
to.
a member of the committee, Jeremy.
I don't have that in writing, but okay.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
I did see it, Hazel, and I think I sent comments on it earlier.
okay, great. All right, Robert, I'll double check because I normally include you on my emails, but I'll double check.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So if there's no more discussions on this, I'm just gonna move forward to number 5. I don't know if you guys heard about the crane collapse on Boston Road. The crane was on Boston Road and it collapsed to a house on Colden Avenue, which happened to be one of my friends. My friend owns that house, so I didn't know exactly what house it was until I saw the news today. I looked at Bronx 12 and they had this whole segment on it. So apparently they're building some kind of a structure on Boston Road there's a gas station there. It's a little further, like across the street from Popeyes and the Walgreens in that area. So the crane fell over and it fell on top of this house. Thank goodness that nobody was hurt. And I mean, there was damage to the house, but not as much as there could have been. It kind of collapsed if you're looking at the back of the house, the left part of the 3rd floor, and it completely destroyed the deck. So hopefully that company will be able to reimburse the homeowners. And they just moved out of the neighborhood. They moved down to Florida and they just rented that house to another family. So unfortunately, this happened to them. So that kind of got me thinking, and I was talking with 2 of my board members at the full board meeting. It got me thinking about all these projects that are going on in the community. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's like construction going on all over the place. On my block alone, there's like a big house going up right across the street from me, 2 on Bronx Park East, which are like around the corner from me. There's construction going on White Plains Road and Mace. There's construction going on Matthews Avenue, right by my office, and then down the block. So there's just like all this building going on in this community that we don't even know about. And now I'm just a little worried about the safety of these projects. So I'm pretty sure, I know that the one across the street from me has all the permits that they need because I always look. The one on Mason White Plains Road, that went up. I just blinked and that building just went up. I had no idea that the property was sold. I had no idea that there was anything going on there until I went by in a cab and I looked and I'm like, oh gosh. So we need to get a grip on exactly what it is that all these projects that are going on in this community board, because we need to make sure that they have all the proper permits, that they're taking safety into consideration, because we don't want another accident like this happening. Thank goodness that nobody got hurt. I mean, if somebody had been near that window where this crane collapsed, they would have died because it would have fallen right on top of them. So I had asked Jeremy to see if we can get a list of all of the projects that are going on within Community Board 11. He referred me to the New York Department of Buildings website, but you can't really, I haven't figured out if there's any way that we can just target Community Board 11. So I sent an email to our liaison at the Department of Buildings to see if he can provide us with a list. Because I think, like I said, I think it's important that we keep track of all this work that's going on, and just to make sure that all their permits are in place and that they are being as safe as they can possibly be with these with this construction. So if you guys know of any other way that we can get a hold of this list, because when I see a building, you usually go on the Department of Buildings and you put in the block and lot, and then you get all the information regarding either if it's an empty lot or if it's a building and whatever complaints are in, whatever violations they got. But I think what we need to do is just get a whole list of all the projects that are going on, just to keep track of everything. So if you guys know of an easier way for us to do this, I would appreciate you letting me know, and we could, we can start doing that. If not, I'll just wait to see what the liaison to the DOB has to say.
Hazel, two things. First, the Department of Buildings Commissioner has resigned this morning. I don't know if it's related to anything with his inspectors or whatever. And second, the community board has the right to ask the developers to come in and explain what they're building and what they need as far as street closures or cordoning off areas for their equipment. They should be cleaning their cement trucks, not in the middle of the street but on their own property. And they should not be blocking access to fire hydrants. Okay, which has been found in other community boards and stopped. I just wanted you to know that, and it is really a land use matter, because some of the times it concerns changing the zoning. It's not really a housing matter, but a land use matter, just so you know.
Yeah, but I think it might be, actually, it could, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is a land use matter, but we are the housing committee also. They're building homes, they're building houses. They're not, these are all residential buildings that are going up. So even if we want to partner with land use, that's fine, but I think that it's important for us, either our committee or whatever other committee, to know what's going on in the community.
That's correct. Each board does it their own way. I'm not telling you how to do it. But if they want to do work on Saturday, for instance, they have to come before the board for an approval. If they want to work after certain hour, after their allotted time, they have to come before the board to get approval. I don't know if this is what this board knows or not, but it should know, and it should have come from the borough president's office, what developers can do and can't do, and when they have to come before the board or not.
Hazel, hey.
Yeah.
I think would it be a good idea for us to get in contact with the Bronx liaison at the DOB, just to probably have it present here as to how these processes go, and also to get a copy of the permits, not the permits but the permit applications, so we can review it ourselves, see how they're filled out, and possibly even advocate for there to be an option where developers have to check off whether or not they consulted or discussed this procedure with the community board. Just so we can provide more oversight, transparency, and accountability.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, that's an excellent idea. We can have him come to our next meeting. Jeremy, can you do that, or do you want me to reach out to him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
So, Luke is no longer our liaison. We got a new liaison. He should still respond to your email that you sent him. So yeah, whatever you want to do. I mean, yeah, I guess we could kind of see whichever response, or we could just shoot an email off. I'll shoot an email off now in response to that. Say what you just said. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. Invite him to the meeting so he can explain the process
Okay.
and the best way to go about what you want to do, Hazel.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So we have a new liaison?
Yeah, her name's Nairobi, I think. Um, so yeah, I forgot. She was just assigned to us earlier this week or probably last week. I don't remember. But Luke still works there. He still should be able to forward on to Nairobi. But
Okay.
I'll reply to the email. I'll ask. So for
And
December, you want a meeting in December?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and also I'm thinking, 'cause I know that we discussed possibly doing a community walk, to see. I mean, if I think that if we really want to apply more active pressure, ongoing pressure, probably having a system where community members can, send over concerns regards to certain projects to us. So they let us know what addresses that they're looking at, and we could look into it.
Yeah.
Just, and make it known that that's what's going on. So it ensures that the developers are following the correct procedures also.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Just a reminder, if somebody reports something to 311, or if it's a 311 reportable complaint, they should do that first. And then what they'll do with our office a lot is, or me and the staff, is that they'll tell me about a complaint. Okay, I can just look it up. It's the nice thing about Department of Buildings, I can just look it up, or they could send it to me and we email the Department of Buildings for follow-up.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Christine Culpepper on the line. I just logged on. Sorry, I'm a little late. I'm working this evening. I'm just trying to catch up on what you guys are all talking about. I am in the construction industry. I'm an expert in safety. And I know that a lot of these developments that are going up in the area are non-union developments. Just FYI, in the city this year alone, 17 workers have died on these non-union construction sites. So I'd like to also know how many of these projects are being done with union workers. If anybody has any ideas about how we can find out what is happening. And, the 2 workers alone died yesterday on non-union construction sites. So it's really important that, these jobs are not just safe for the public, for our community, but also for the workers on the project. Thank you.
Thank you. That's kind of the information that we're looking to find out. I just think it's important for us to keep, ahead of the game here and just know what's going on in the community. I know when I was looking up information on the crane, the Boston Road crane, there actually was a collapse of another crane on Boston Road, but further south. And I believe there was a fatality there. So I don't want that happening here. We down the block when they were constructing this building down the block from where I am, they had all this big equipment on the street, and this is like, I'm right around the corner from a school. And it really concerned me that all of this is going on and these kids are just walking by, and you never know. An accident can happen in the blink of an eye. So we just need to make sure that it's not only safe for the public, but it's also safe for the workers.
Correct.
So Christine,
Yes.
is it because like there's a news article that says they're non-union? How do you know that they're not? Like, I'm just wondering if there's also maybe someone like
Someone is definitely tracking this information. Usually we know because of the contractors and yes, the companies, the contractors doing the work. They're not signatory contractors. That makes them non-union. And and some of them are open shops. So there is a a combination of union and non-union workers there. That's still an issue. You know, the statistics say very clearly that union jobs are much safer. And, but there are, you know, rules about construction, no matter whether there are union jobs or non-union jobs, there has to be a certain amount of training that the workers have. And, you know, contractors have to be, you know, making sure that they're hiring people who are properly, you know, trained and certified in the thing that they're doing. So if they're operating heavy equipment, they should be, you know, trained, and they should have licenses and stuff like that. So it'd be really important to know where all of these jobs are. I can pass that along and get information quickly on who they are, you know, and history on, you know, safety for those companies. And, you know, maybe if you know, one of these contractors or developers have a history of unsafe work sites, we can track them or, you know, keep an eye on them more thoroughly.
Yeah, I'm just curious if there's maybe somebody on the union side of things that you know of that might also be able to be a guest speaker. Because I'm not sure how. You think the buildings department will be able to answer that though? Do you think they really know in
So
terms of
today,
who's?
I don't know if you guys saw the news article today, but I think the building Department of Building Commissioner was resigned
Yeah, I
under,
thought.
you know, investigation, some illegal activity. So I don't know if, you know, Department of Buildings right now is you know, going to be speaking publicly on any issues. But um, what what specifically, Jeremy, were you looking for? What information?
No, no, I'm just saying. I'm just wondering, since you know, basically what you're telling me is like someone on the union side of thing tracks this stuff. So maybe there's also a guest speaker from your field that might be able to come and speak, not just
Speak
buildings.
on the issue of safety?
Yeah, yeah, unionized labor versus and how you know if it's unionized labor and stuff like that. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
they,
can
you
speak
know
on
anything.
that. We can definitely, you know, talk about it. That's my, you know, field of expertise.
Good.
Okay.
So maybe we can have them come to our December meeting as well, and we can have both them and the Department of Buildings there.
I can't speak for the Department of Building, but you can, we can certainly reach them.
We're going to invite the Department of Buildings, and maybe you can get this union person to come to the December meeting so we can have both sides there.
I am that union person. This is safety, my, you know, field of expertise.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah.
could you be our guest speaker?
Can we talk about it? I don't know what date we're talking about, but December is you know, a very busy time. But definitely we can talk a little bit more about it. Sure.
Okay.
Hazel, if I might, the district service cabinet meeting is where the Department of Buildings rep to the board should be advising the board on any new buildings going up as far as permits and what is going to be required. Just so you have the information.
Yeah, but that's
Okay.
not the same with that's not the same as a meeting for the public, which is I think what Hazel wants to, you know, because that meeting's not open to the public. So, am I correct about that, Hazel? You want something that can be shared with the public?
The minutes are supposed to be shared with everybody.
Yeah. Well, minutes are not the same as having guests at the meeting.
So
I could be wrong.
our next meeting is Thursday, December 1st. So
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I'm just looking for you.
Hazel, did you say December 1st? I'm sorry. I have a terrible connection.
because we're like the first Thursday of the month, so it'll be
December 1st. Okay. All right.
Great.
Do we have anything else on this subject? Okay. So I don't know if anybody signed up for the gallery. Jeremy, did anybody sign up for the gallery session?
I don't know. I will. check right now. I don't think so. I normally Harriet's very good about helping check that, emailing you. No, the last thing I see is for the what is it? Full board.
Okay.
Um, alright. So yeah, unless there's anybody here, now's your chance. If you're a member of the public, or if you're not a member of the committee,
Hi, I'm a member of the public, and somehow I thought the meeting started at 7. So,
yeah, the agenda was wrong. It was
yeah.
yeah.
So I missed the discussion of the draft Just Home letter, and I wondered if someone, Malcolm or Hazel or someone, could recap it for me, what the discussion was.
We just basically discussed just doing the letter. We didn't really go into details about it. Jeremy is gonna start it off, and remember, it's just a draft and it has to go to the board. So we just talked about just drafting the letter. Jeremy, like I said, Jeremy's going to put in all the information that needs to be in there, and then he'll pass it on to us.
And it's
Hazel, are we going to be voting on the final draft if that's where we want, or if that's the final draft that we want sent to the full board to vote on?
We're going to be discussing it, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if we have to vote on it, but yeah, we'll be discussing it.
And is it a letter of questions that we have for them, or is it a letter just about the vote of an objection?
Okay, so we had submitted a bunch of questions to them, and we did receive some answers, which we're going to, Christina, Christine, right? Christina, Christina.
Christine.
Christine, I didn't have your email, but I think Jeremy's gonna send the letters, the question.
I'm forwarding on Cynthia's email from the 14th. I don't, so Juanita, Malcolm, and Christine didn't get it, so I'm going to send it to them. I'm going to CC you. That way you have her email.
Okay, good, thank you. So
Thank you, Jeremy.
yeah, we're gonna send the committee members the answers that we've received from Just Homes, and we're just gonna work on the letter, and it's the letter that of opposition that the board voted on last week. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. There was a specific letter of opposition?
No, the board voted to send a letter of opposition,
Okay.
a draft. So that's what we're gonna work on.
Right. Okay.
And then it'll go in front of the board.
Okay. And on the buildings, BPECA put together a list of the buildings in our main area that are under construction. And Jeremy showed us how to look up the permits, the existing permits on them. And we've been trying to track them, although it's not easy for a volunteer neighborhood association to keep up with everything. And we did notice one building where they were working on a Saturday and didn't seem to have a permit to do that. But maybe that was just one Saturday. So it's hard to keep up with all of this stuff.
No, Diane, I think I have that list, but can you send that to me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
because I could always look, yeah, I could look it up.
Right. And then there's one new building that's got permits for construction, but nothing is happening. And apparently it seems like it's on a corner. It's a private house next to 2 other private houses. And apparently it seems as though they can do nothing for 2 years, which is the length of their permit. And not be penalized for that. And it seems as though that's what they're going to do. is do nothing and maybe work on acquiring the other houses next door, or we'll see what happens. But meanwhile, the property's like fallen into disrepair.
Where is that?
It's the corner of Bronx Park East and Waring. Right
Oh.
across from 610 Waring.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Because it was a very nice property before with nice plantings and gardenings and
Yeah,
kept
I
up
remember.
nicely. But now it looks terrible.
Diana, is that the property that we took a tour of?
I think we walked past it. Yes, I think we did with Councilman Feliz.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't think we really focused on it though in that tour.
Yeah, no, that's the same thing that's happening with the property on Mace and Barker. That big room.
Right, although the Mason Barker one, they have had fines. Various agencies came and did inspections. They cleaned up some of it and they locked the gate so that you can't get inside anymore. So the authorities are taking action on that.
But what I'm saying is they really haven't done anything with that property because I think they're waiting
Right.
to knock down all those other private homes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Okay, thanks.
All right, you're welcome. So on the old business, I don't know why they.
Hello?
Yeah.
This is Roxanne Delgado. I would like to speak at the gallery session, please.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Roxanne.
Well, unfortunately, agenda was sent at 6:29 stating, notifying that a meeting was going to start at 6:30. But earlier today, when I checked on the site, the meeting was supposed to start at 7. So I missed the discussion, but I only could say is missed the discussion. I really don't have much input. But to say, regarding the last month's full board meeting, I had people that I knew that attended the remote side of the hybrid meeting, and they told me they could not hear anything that was being said at the in-person meeting portion. And I had to, when I reviewed the YouTube video of that meeting, I had to concur with them that it was very hard. It was basically inaudible to hear the in-person meeting at Maestro. So I was wondering, how could a full board vote on the motion to object to Just Homes when I don't think they even heard most of the testimonies or gallery session and other remarks that was made by board members. I think next time going in the future, you should do a roll call on those motions, because I think a few of those board members are logged in, but they're not really present at the meeting. And just to make sure that this vote, I think it was 30-4 to abstain, just to make sure that that vote is accurate, that you should do a roll call to make certain that all the board members are present in the remote part and that they heard what was being said, because like I said, that the remote portion was inaudible. I can't imagine people being able to hear or understand what they were voting on. But I really don't have any input except next time, let the person that does the agenda to put the agenda accurate on a timely basis. It has to be posted within 24 hours before the meeting commenced per the open meeting law. And it was posted, but it was posted inaccurate. So I missed the discussion. I logged in exactly at 7 o'clock, and then I looked at the email and it said 6:29 notification for 6:30 meeting. A one minute notification I think is insufficient. I don't think I'm being unreasonable, but thank you.
You're welcome. But just so everybody knows, these meetings always start at 6:30. I don't know what mix-up happened. There was just a whole mix with the website and everything.
Yeah, but Hazel, we also rely on the public to tell us if there's something wrong, because when you, like you said earlier, when you click here, it took you to the education meeting. So if the public can also click on these things, make sure they work. I know Chris pointed out something yesterday. Yeah, errors are going to happen. We all try to work together as a team to make sure we get it right.
So why would I click on a meeting that says 7 p.m., click at 6:30 when the agenda says 7 p.m.? If I click at 7 p.m. and
So if you click on things the day before, if you really looked at it.
so now I have to check your work now. As a member of the public, it's my responsibility to check your errors now? That's unbelievable. I'm not even going to discuss that. Goodbye.
All right, guys, let's keep it moving.
But so just for the housing committee members, again, if you can get in the habit before, make sure the WebEx link works. Or if it's a WebEx meeting, the September minutes, just double check. You know, even though Chris publishes his stuff, he did catch the minutes yesterday. He didn't catch everything, obviously, and neither did I. And for what it's worth, I've been sick and I've been off, so it's been a hard week.
Hi, this is Janine Timpone. Is there a way I could speak since other people were speaking as well?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Just a quick question since I'm getting more involved with all this community stuff, and I appreciate everybody's hard work and volunteering thus forth and saying what they got to say about what's going on in the area. It brings everybody together to keep the Bronx what it is. With that being said, I want to understand something, how the community board works. So everybody now, we had this meeting last week, the board, it was 30 to 4, whatever the numbers were in specifics. A week later, we're here, you're drafting up a letter to Just Homes with questions. Now, this is just my concern. Today, I've been doing a lot of reading. I think this problem, this is just a little piece of the problem in the world today. And I think the problem is not just with Just Homes or Fortune Society, it's within our city and the health and hospital system. Now, is the community board able to get Jacoby in like some sort of involvement with Jacoby Hospital or the health and hospital system? And when you write this letter, are they going to be like CC'd on it or something?
Weren't they just sent, wasn't there an email sent out not too long ago? And I don't know if this is an answer or not, about an advisory board. You know, there was like a call for applications.
Yes,
for
that's the
advisory
community
board.
advisory board at Jacoby. But
Right.
how does the community board or community board 11 work directly with them? Does this letter to Just Homes, is the community advisory board at Jacoby going to get a copy of this letter to know that community board 11 is voting, or I don't want to say voting, but is saying we recommend this is not a good proposal. We voted 30 to 4 or whatever. Is that advisory board in communication with our community board? Is somebody from our community board on the advisory board? I'm just trying to understand all the pieces of this puzzle here with the communication.
That's a good question.
Isn't Al on it? I don't know.
We can get back to you on. That's a good question. Agreed. I mean, we can get back to figure out who's on.
Because I
that
think
board.
there's a bigger, I'm not saying anything bad. I just think that this project is a little piece of what's going on all over the city right now with the mayor and the health and hospital system. And I think more attention needs to be quickly brought to it. Because things are happening rather quicker than we think.
Well, it would definitely make sense if Jacoby Hospital did get a copy of this letter, being that this proposal this project is going to be on their property. And we do have a person that's on the community board that is on the advisory board. That's kind of how we found out so quickly that this project was happening.
Okay, all right. As long as there's a means of communication with the community board in that CAB meeting. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. As long as Jacoby's gonna find out about the letter from our community board. It's not just word of mouth, it's documented somewhere that this is how we stand. And they'll get that before the next the community advisory board is I believe it's monthly. So will this letter get to them before that or no? This rough draft this letter ain't going out until December.
Yeah, we have to first write the letter because we haven't written it yet, and then it has to, since it is a draft, it has to go to the board. I'm not sure if it just has to go to the executive board or the leadership committee, but that's something that I need to clarify with the executive board.
So then Just Homes and our health and hospitals does not know our stance until kind of like the
no.
December timeframe.
They know where, I'm pretty sure they know exactly where everybody stands on this subject. But, you know, this project this is, according to what they tell us, and, you know, how I feel, I don't know if you guys know how I feel about that, but anyway, this project is just in the talking stages right now. This is
It
really
sounds
not-
like it's a done deal because there's a lot of communication that was posted on LinkedIn today from health and hospitals that this is gonna happen like rather quickly all throughout the Bronx.
Yeah, can I just finish a minute? Can I?
Yes, I'm sorry.
This project itself is really not supposed to happen until 2 or 3 years down the line. This is what they are telling us. But that does not mean that we're just going to sit around and wait 2 and 3 years. We are on top of this. We're going to draft this letter. We're going to do what needs to be done with this letter. And like I said at the full board meeting, this is not, it does, you know, just because we're an advisory board. We're not, I mean, we can tell them what to do it, but they don't have to listen to us. But that doesn't mean that the fight has to stop.
I get it. I'm just concerned because.
And to add quickly, we need to also really connect with our elected officials. And if we're for it, against it, whatever we're at, we need to, they're the ones who can really stop it or not, in the sense that
Nobody's stopping this. The community.
I'm just saying, I'm clarifying the fact that we as a community board don't have yay or nay powers.
I get it.
Okay.
I totally get it. I see the big picture here. I just want to make sure there's a means of communication because I feel, I could be wrong, that it's sad to say, and it's disheartening to hear that, yes, they communicated it with you but where was it in the early stages of the communication process when they picked Just Homes or Fortune? Why didn't they pick another, like that whole bidding process? Where was the community board? How were you guys in this whole pre-existing stage or whatever, before it was like, okay, Fortune Society is going to be the lead on this project? Why wasn't the community board notified in those talks or anything? If there's somebody from our community board on the CAB meetings. I'm not trying to call anybody out on anything. I'm just trying to just understand the big picture of communication here.
No, I get what she's saying, but also it's like we didn't know till very last minute, you know. But again, like it just goes back to that thing where it's like, you know, there's a lot of information that we just don't have and we don't know, and we are shut out of the very early stages of, you know, deciding where these things go and what it does, you know.
Well, that means then the shame on all the elected officials not being part of our community board.
I agree with you.
If they're involved in other community boards with their decision-making process. And it should be up to, I'm not calling you out, Jeremy, but fight harder and get these elected people here on a call, even representation. Shame on them.
To just to piggyback off that comment, and I wish we could amplify that. Our elected official representatives are there at every board meeting, every general board meeting at the end. I know they usually just do announcement, but that's the public's time to, like, really, I mean, I don't want to, whatever. It's our time to voice our concerns, for lack of a better word. I mean, I know they go there and they say announcement like, hey, we have this drive, et cetera, but in reality, they're the representative of XYZ congressperson, congresswoman, congressman.
I didn't see one elected official at that board meeting at
but their representatives are there. They send their reps. And that's who that you can definitely question them about anything you want at that point. I think and that's probably something we can amplify more. I think people don't know that, but just because they're not there doesn't mean they're not that they're
They need to
representatives.
be visible from a community.
I mean, I think what they do is that they'll send someone on their behalf, and that's where the public can get to them.
Shame on
and
them.
even look at this meeting, right? You had such a crucial vote happen last week, regarding what the community wants to recommend, and there's no elected officials in this meeting. It just shows so much of how much they, what they think.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm sorry if I took this
No,
all
no.
out of topic. But thank you guys for all your time. I appreciate it.
No, your points, you make perfect sense. I mean, I don't think that just because we're writing this letter, I don't think that this is where the fight stops. I think we have to continue. I think we have to get as many people involved, and we have to voice, be as loud as we can possibly be.
No, I get it. It's just disheartening to say.
I know it is.
I'm sorry. I don't want to get personal here. So thank you.
I don't want to look at this as a done deal. I'm not giving up. I'm not saying, oh, this is going to happen. No, it might happen, but it might not happen. And that all depends on us.
Okay.
Too much
Appreciate
pressure
it.
is put on everybody. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So anybody else want to talk during the gallery?
Hi, yes, this is Bobby. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Bobby Mitchell. I live on Williamsbridge Road, so I'm right in between CB11 and CB12. I just have, I don't know if this is the right place to bring it up, but I just would like to know, what is anybody doing about parking? I have 7 buildings going up around my neighborhood, 7. And the parking is horrendous already. So what is anybody doing about parking for the people that are actually living here right now?
That's a great, excellent, wonderful question. We have the same question. Jeremy, would that be us or transportation?
I think Jeremy walked away.
Okay, so well, I live in the neighborhood as well. We're all asking the same questions. Bronx Park East, there's only so much parking, for example. There's no parking garages going up.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's no
Yeah, I
parking
agree.
garages, no parking lots. The houses that rent the parking, they're filled to the rim.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
just to the point where if you get home after 6 o'clock, you're going to drive around for at least an hour to try to find parking. And this is before the buildings are even inhabited yet. I know there's one building on Bronxwood that is already up. And when we asked them about the parking, they said, oh yeah, we do have parking in the back. I said, oh great, how many spaces? He said 7. You have a 30 it's like 30 apartments in your building. You have 7 parking spaces, and one of them is going to be for the landlord and one of them is going to be for the super. So okay, nobody can park there. So I'm just a little concerned because I have to drive. I drive to work.
And that is a good question. I mean, is parking normally a government venture? Is that a state government venture, or is that something that's handled privately?
Couldn't tell you. Have
You
no
know,
clue.
it's something that nobody really takes into consideration. I mean, we all talk about it and scream about it, but it's not just parking. It's schools. How many families are going to come in here? Our schools are already overcrowded as it is. What about crime? Our precinct, the 49 precinct, doesn't have nearly enough police officers to handle everything that's going on in this community. And we just have all these people keep coming into the community. But what about the services? What about the sewers? What about water? What about this? What about that? Everything is just it's going to be so overcrowded, and parking is just one of the problems. There are so many other questions that we can be asking. But you know what? It's like we have no control over this because the city doesn't do anything. The city doesn't take any of this into consideration. They just let these people buy these properties and build these buildings. I have a 7-story building going across the street from where I live. parking, you're right, parking is horrendous in my neighborhood, just like in every other neighborhood around here. And they're not building any parking spaces for these people. There's nothing going on at all. There's a building that was built on Thwaites and White Plains Road. When they first came to the board, they said, yeah, we're gonna have parking for people. They lied. They after everything was accepted, all the permits were put in and everything, they changed their minds. And they're like, oh, well, because of the bedrock, we couldn't do any parking. So now it's like, I think it's a 50-unit building. So where are these people gonna live?
Well, go ahead, Rob. You go ahead.
In the first year of the de Blasio administration, they raised the height of R6 buildings from 75 feet to 85 feet. And if the building is in a transit zone, they need minimal parking, which is almost nothing, just to let you know. That was the first year of the de Blasio administration.
Well, one thing that I was going to suggest, because I'm also on the budget committee, and we did submit like some budget stuff in on Monday. And like I didn't see much budget requests for housing, and I personally, I really think that it may be beneficial to coordinate with elected officials to have a community assessment done, so we could figure out, have more of an analysis as to how many people are moving in, how many moving out, how many schools need to be created, how much parking needs to be created, how many apartments need to be created, et cetera, et cetera. And just so like we really have that conversation as to like, what does the community really needs when it comes down to housing and community development.
Okay. I mean, we're not the only community that's going through this. If you look all through the Bronx, there's construction going on everywhere. Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, I don't know if I can speak again, but there's a lot I put in the chat about the parking issues.
Okay.
That the zoning doesn't require the parking garages. The parking, it requires only a very limited amount of space for parking for buildings of a certain height. And then I've asked developers in the area, like, why don't you just build a parking garage instead of more housing? And they said it's not financially viable, because to make a parking garage work, you have to have at least 2 underground levels, as well as however many you build above ground. And it's just too expensive in this neighborhood to excavate that far because there's so much bedrock.
Yeah.
The zoning, I think, has a lot to do with it. And they don't have to build parking when you're very near a lot of public transportation. That limits the amount of parking spaces that you have to provide. But the problem is people don't understand that some people take the subway into Manhattan for work, but many more people drive to work elsewhere in the Bronx or in Westchester or in Queens. They don't, not everybody commutes to their job on the subway in this area. So.
All right, well, that's something that can be brought up at transportation.
Yeah, I mean, the zoning is definitely a problem. It's not in our favor.
No, it's not. You're right.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Jason, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the agenda. Review questions submitted, not submitted to the Fort Society. I never received an email from Committee 11 regarding any questions that were sent to Fort Society or any responses received to those questions. Will the community ever receive that, regardless of where our position stands on this project?
We did receive answers to the questions that we submitted. We talked about that.
But that hasn't been distributed to the community.
No, we just got them an hour ago.
Okay, okay. So my request is, would that be distributed to everybody in Committee Board 11 district?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And second item is, when were those questions submitted? Because this has been under discussion since June, when you did the first public hearing.
think Hazel submitted like in June. Like it's been a while.
Really?
yeah, it's been a long time.
Today,
Yeah,
but, yeah.
we submitted them and resubmitted, and we sent them even more questions. We have no control over when these people want to answer us, just like with DHS. I'm still waiting for answers from DHS regarding the White Plains shelter. We have no control over that. I can't go over there and put a gun to somebody's head and
No,
say,
no, no, but
"Answer
with
my
the homeless shelter, I was the one that gathered most of the information regarding the pre-K, all that. And then when we had the public hearing, and the following month, we had the full board meeting, it came to our attention that the questions that were asked by the residents at the public hearing was never yet submitted to DHS. And then later on, DHS sent a letter rescinding the proposed site. And then therefore those questions were just, if only Community Board 11 had transcribed the public hearing in the earlier.
I'm sorry, but I don't know why they would have said that, because we sent them a whole bunch of questions and they never answered. And I kept emailing them, hello, where's our answers? And they never gave us any answers. Just like with Just Homes, we've been questioning them since we found out about this. And today we got the answers to the questions, and not even to all the questions that we asked. So like I said, we have no control over these people. I can tell them till I'm blue in the face, can you please answer my questions? They sent them today, and as soon as we review them, we will be passing them along to everybody, so that you guys have the same information that we have. We're not trying to hide anything here.
No, I know that, but the homeless shelter thing, there was no information collected, because I recall when I found out about the homeless shelter, Community Board 11 did not disclose that. I gathered all the information regarding the pre-K opening next door, regarding the West Half audit, regarding so much information I was able to find online.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, but Roxanne, all the information that you gave us, we sent to them. We questioned them on all of that. So it's not like we were just sitting around. We did send them a bunch of questions that they never ever, till this day, never ever answered.
All right, I hope, I'm just surprised with Fortune Society. I didn't send them any questions, but they've been very, I guess that we all have a different experience, but I'll look forward to those questions so I could at least understand more about this proposal, regardless of my stance. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else? All right. I don't know why the Youth Leadership Award was put on our old business. I don't remember bringing that up.
Hazel, this is not really, it's, there was a mix up between our agenda and the Education Committee agenda. Yeah.
Okay, and is there any follow-up items from last meeting? I think we spoke about almost everything that was brought up. Do we have any new business?
Hazel, I'd like to bring something up. There is a 97-page draft that came out today from the mayor about the city and including HHC to build on HHC property as well as other property. And Jacoby has a lot of property to build on. I think we should be, I haven't read the full 97 pages yet, so I can't comment on it yet, but it just came out today. I would hope that our community board has it from the mayor's office, and that it be distributed to the members so the members can be warned in case anything is going to be constructed on Jacoby Hospital property or other city property around the area.
Okay, so can you do me a favor? When you do read it, can you summarize it for us?
Well, I will send the link when I get home. I'm not home.
Yeah. Can you send the link to me, please? I'd love to read
I'll
it.
send it to Jeremy, who could send it to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, it was announced today, and it's very, concerning to me, because it seems like they want to, and I know that HHC wants to build. Dr. Katz said, I don't like cars, I like buildings. And there is lots of open land on Jacoby. From what I understand, they sold part of it to Montefiore already, but there's still parking lots that they would build buildings on. And on the last page of the 7-page document we got right before the public hearing, it says that the entire campus is zoned for residential. All right. And they said that 50 people will be coming from Rikers or, Rikers, whatever, every year for that project, which means they will be building more on Jacoby property. If you read that last page. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else? All right, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I apologize again for the hiccups. Just so you know, all of our future meetings start at 6:30, not 7 o'clock. So, but hopefully we won't have, well, I can't say never because, technology, anything can happen with technology. But thank you so much. And I will follow up with everybody that I said I was going to follow up with. We'll be emailing out all the information we said we would be emailing. And that's really it. So thank you, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Richard, thank you. All right, good night, guys.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Hazel.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.